Hello there. This is K48R, and I thought it would be fun to do a track breakdown of one off of my new album. The album is called We Will Get Dirty Again, and the track is We Were Promised Fire, which is one of my favorite tracks off of this album. I've already had some friends ask me how it got made, and I thought I would just show everybody. It actually ended up being an almost embarrassingly simple track. So when I sat down to work on it, I was thinking a lot about role-playing games and music that you might want to play while your party was going through a dungeon. And so I wanted to start off with a very kind of creepy pad that would set the mood. So I went through my 90s sample CDs, hunted around a little bit until I came upon this one, which I really liked. Let's play it with all the effects turned off and hear what the sample sounds like. So it has that really nice sound to it, including this stereo difference and so forth, which already gives it, a really nice mood. It was a little harsh still for my taste for this song, so I went ahead and threw on just a convolution reverb, a big one, so like a 20-second convolution reverb, and a little bit of stereo panning with Pancake 2. And since it's in a sampler, you can also play this with chords. Let's take a listen to what that sounds like. I really love the way this works because the higher pitches go quicker through the sample while the lower pitches are a little bit slower, and so you get that really eerie, weird desynchronization. So then I just effectively noodled that out in E flat minor, held down notes for quite a long time, tried to change them when I felt like it needed a little bit of a mood change, and we ended up with the pad, which starts the song and really sets the atmosphere for most of the rest of the track. Okay, so I felt like it needed a little more percussion on top of that. So I hunted through my samples and came across two that I liked. One is this jug sound, and the other is a bottle sound. And they give the impression, I thought, of slime or goop or something like that dripping through the cavern. And then also the bottle has this percussive element to it that I think really makes the whole sample combination flow pretty nicely. So let's take a listen to that and hear what it sounds like. So what's kind of cool is I didn't even put any delay or anything on that jug. That's how the sample sounds. And you can hear that the bottle's also got a really nice percussive element to it. Let's listen to that one more time. Okay, so you also heard in there the intro that's coming in from the lead. And the main lead here comes from a plugin called Juice, which is a chiptune like plugin that I use pretty often because I like the sound it makes. I've got a little bit of automation on Juice where I have two random elements that are modulating the carrier wave and I think the carrier release, which again just gives that instrument a little bit of movement. Let me play it. I think I played in a fairly low register on this one. Even lower than that, huh? Yeah, that's more like where I actually played it in the song. I don't know why I keep playing that G. It's not in the scale. Regardless, that's where the lead comes from, and I like that sound quite a bit. Let's solo it, and you'll get to hear it. Okay, so I mean, that's the intro, right? Just a little bit of convolution reverb on that one as well, with a little bit of movement in the mix to make it sound a little more interesting. I felt like that lead needed a lot more body to it, so I popped into Serum, which I love using to make basses. And in this case, actually, I think it ended up being mostly a preset in Serum that I really like the sound of. It had this growl to it. Let's listen to just the Serum bass for a moment. Yeah, so it's got that growl, and then also on top of it, it's got almost a staticky noise to it. Here, let's take a look at that preset. So it's got this really funky wave shape here. The wavetable position and the bend is moving back and forth with these LFOs. And then we fiddled with the envelopes just a little bit to change the filter and so forth, but pretty much a lightly modified preset for that one. Okay, so let's talk about the ARPs. These are duplicates of one another. They are both using a Clavinet Rhodes preset for Dext, which is a DX7 emulator. I love Dext. I use it all the time. I really like the 80s and 90s sounds you can get out of it. The differences between these are that they have different patterns. So one is doing a blossom down pattern, the other is on a random arpeggiator pattern. They've both got a randomizer for the gate length, which gives it a little bit of movement to the length of the note that gets played. And I did edit this break section just a tiny bit to make the ARP sound a little interesting. Let's solo the ARPs for a moment just to hear them in isolation. Let's start right before the break so we can hear that come in. There's a little bit of automation on the speed of the arpeggiator as well. Right, so in the break, we drop the bass rate just a little bit down, and that takes it from a 16th note arpeggio to an 8th note arpeggio. It slows it down, gives the song that groove feeling to it. The last piece that I haven't talked about is the main drum loop, which again is from a 90 sample CD. I just went through them and found one that I liked. In fact, I found the first one that I really liked, and then when I needed a break, I just looked through the other samples in the same set. So I think I used sample 29 for the main loop, and then 16 or something for the second loop. And we end up with our drum loop, and that is about it for that one. Let's solo the drums. Nothing really as far as effects on the drums other than some compression. Okay, and then for the main signal chain, this is pretty standard for what I run, although there's just one little difference here, but an EQ tuned how I like it, I guess. Another master compression, and a peak limiter, obviously, so we don't blow people's ears out. The one that's a little bit unusual is I use this codec, and again, this is one that I use quite a bit throughout the album. This is a plugin that makes your song sound like it is ripped from a CD, kind of. You can set the bit rate, bandwidth, mix level, and all sorts of other things. It really is kind of a weird one. So maybe I'll just start the song and fiddle with it a little bit so you can hear what I'm talking about, right? it gets really nasty sounding if you get into low bit rates. The loss is even more annoying to my ear. Yeah, the loss like skips around. Very odd. I'm not exactly sure what the crunch does. It does something, but it's hard to describe. I don't typically use it a whole lot. And then you can also set this bandwidth number to be different, which again will change the sound a little bit. So I really like codec. It's almost like immediate 90s vintage if you use it a little bit wisely. So here I put it right into the master chain. Normally I would just put it on one track or something, but this one, it's just hidden everything, right? And so I have a little bit of codec bitrate movement happening in this song. Not much, but just enough to, again, to make it sound interesting. So that's the track. I hope you like it. Again, if you do, check out the album. We Will Get Dirty Again on k48art@bandcamp.com. And I think I'll just play it to close out the video and talk to you soon.